Empower Nation. Welcome to Empower Her Money podcast. I am your host, Angela Duncan, best-selling author, coach, serial entrepreneur, bringing you all things business and money. Talking today to our professionals and business owners. Have you ever had a challenge when hiring someone for the right position on your team? Well, my guest today is going to give you a tool that you can implement immediately into your business so that it can help you find the right talent first time around. So, want to introduce to the show today, Myrna Scales. Thank you so much for joining me.
Hi, thank you so much, Angela. I'm so happy to be here.
Yeah, welcome to the show. I would love for you to share your story and your journey and kind of how you got to what you're doing today.
Yes, well, thank you for the opportunity. It started off in 2018. I had my youngest son, and he was around 3 months, almost 4 months, and we found out that he had kidney cancer. And um, so at 4 months of age, he had major abdominal surgery, removed the tumor and his left kidney, then had radiation and 7 months of chemotherapy. And
Wow.
it was just a really hard time for me. And as you can imagine, nobody wants their kid to have to go through any of that. But I had all these feelings, anger, sadness, and I didn't know how to express it. I didn't know how to express anger specifically. And I just started asking questions about myself, like, why am I such a people pleaser? And like, I just care about what everybody else thinks, and I never stand up for myself and all this stuff. And it took that experience to start asking those questions. And so one day I was looking, scrolling through Instagram, and I found this post about the Enneagram. And I was like, you know what? Let me try taking this quiz. I've taken tests before, and I took the quiz. And once I got my type, I read the results and I started crying. I was like, oh my gosh, this is me. Like, how do they know all this stuff about me? And I've been hooked ever since. Like, I've been obsessed. But I've put it into my relationship with my husband. He learned his type. I've been able to, we've been able to grow in our relationship in that way. I've been able to use it to grow as a mom and just as a professional as well. And so I became an Enneagram coach because I want to help other moms that are going through hard times in life. Like, you don't have to struggle and feel guilty and be sad the whole time. You can thrive and still go through this hard journey, but you can still thrive and get through it.
Yeah, that's incredible. I remember doing not this test because we did a disc test with my daughter when she was younger, and just so because it's much easier for her to understand. And I remember we doing the test, and she was reading my personality type, and she looked at me and she's like, "Oh my God, that makes so much sense why you do what you do," because she can understand the personality type. So you touched on the tool a little bit. Tell us more about the Enneagram and kind of it's a much better version of a disc test, but kind of talk about what it is and what kind of results that people see from it.
Okay. So with the Enneagram, there's 9 personality types. They're all different. And so it kind of stems from when you're a child and you go through trauma, circumstances, and we all deal with certain situations, differently. And so as a child, we cope, and then we use that coping mechanism as adults. And we bring that into relationships, we bring that into our workplaces. And a lot of times it's not the healthiest way to be. And so with the Enneagram, you figure out your type and you see how you've been coping this whole time. And so you can learn where you go in growth, where you go when you're stressed. You can learn how to be compassionate with others because you start to realize like everyone's different and it just starts to click. And so you can empathize, and it's just a great tool I think that everyone could use.
Yeah. So specifically talking to our business owners, because it does talk about personality types and perhaps the way you communicate with people. But how can a business owner use this tool in their hiring process so they can kind of figure out that person's personality? You know, what do you think that, or why would you recommend the tool for a business owner?
Yeah, I think that a business owner, I mean, it depends on like what you're doing in your business. So if you're looking for someone that has to be in sales, you know, you're gonna you're not going to look for someone that's introverted and that doesn't want to go out and talk to people. And so with the Enneagram, like you could probably use it as a tool when they're applying. Like, hey, this is a test that we give out. And then when you get their type, like you know that if they're a type 3, they're the go-getters, they're the ones that want to achieve, they're really good at talking and like marketing, then yeah, you're going to be like, hey, this would be a great fit for you.
Mm-hmm.
um, but if they're a type 5 that they don't want to talk to people, they kind of want to be, in the back, maybe they'll be better at like tech or something where they don't have to be around people constantly. So you can use it to kind of guide you like, okay, I think that you would be a great fit here and you could be a great fit here. And it would just help put the right person in the right spot.
Yeah, because during an interview process, I mean, I'm more what you're describing, more of the 5. I'm an introvert by nature. I like to be the fly in the wall. I'm going to be in the room. I'm very quiet. I don't want to be the sales. I'm great
Yeah.
at operations, but in an interview, I could portray something very different. You know, if it's a sales position and I want that position, I could put on that hat and that personality in that 30-minute interview and you wouldn't know as the business owner. So I like that idea of using this tool as part of your hiring process so that you can kind of figure out what their personality is, because when we take that type of test, the questions are very specific and people will navigate towards, what they know is their own personality. And you just encourage them to be honest too, because then obviously it's a win-win for everybody. So I like that too. You touched a little bit on the numbers. Can we go a little more in depth on some of those and kind of what positions each one of them would be a great fit for?
Yeah. So I can go through each type really quickly. So a type 1 is a reformer, a perfectionist. And I think that these types, like my husband is a type 1 and he's an Air Force pilot. And so
Mm.
like jobs that are really like, you have to check the list before we can like take off, or a surgeon. Like I feel like anybody that, that has a intense job that's like really important, type 1 would be great. Judge, they're really all about being good and making right decisions.
Mm-hmm.
uh, and so a type 2 is the giver, helper. And so you'll see those types as nurses or social workers, pastors. They really want to help people and they're really good at empathizing and making people feel loved.
Mm.
A type 3, we kind of touched on, they're the go-getters. You're going to see these people doing great in sales. You're going to see them in marketing. You might even see them as actors and like they want to be famous. They like the image, maybe on
Uh,
YouTube videos. So you'll see that. And then type 4 is the individualist. They want to be unique. They want to be different and they
mm,
want to showcase their talent in a special way. And so you might see them as artists,
mm,
hairstylists, photographers. In a type 5, it sounds like maybe you might be. They're very inquisitive. They like to be well knowledgeable, well researched. They like to be prepared and know what they're going to before they go to it. So they might be good at like, research jobs or analytical tech jobs, things like that.
mm,
Um, Type 6, they're the loyalist and they're just very friendly, family oriented. They like safety and security. So
mhm,
they're the ones that are always being prepared to if we're going out, I have the snacks. Okay, where's the exits? Where's the bathrooms? They know where all the stuff is. And I think that they would be good at like, I'm trying to think, service jobs, customer service. I think they would be really good fit at anything because they're just really good at being prepared. Um, and then the type 7, the enthusiast, adventure seeking type, they don't like to be boxed in. So
Mhm.
they need to be in jobs where they are out and about, maybe more of the firefighters or skydivers. I don't know what kind of crazy jobs out there, but they need to be out doing something adventurous. They cannot be inside on a computer all day. They will go crazy. And a type 8 is the challenger, and these people are really good at being in a leadership role because they know what they want. They're the ones that you go to if there's a problem. They're very good at just, telling you how it is. They kind of put their emotions to the side and they're just like, hey, this is it. They might come off as blunt or maybe like, oh, are they mad? But they're not mad. That's just their personality. And then the type 9 peacemaker is who I am. And that's what they are. They're the peacemakers, they're the mediators. You might not really see them in sales and stuff. You might see them as therapists, consultants. They're really good at understanding other people's perspectives. And so those are all the 9 types and kind of like what career choices they might be in.
Gotcha. And you also touched on, you said that you've taken the test and your husband's taken the test. So does it help you better understand who you are and how to communicate to each other? What did you find are some advantages of a husband and wife taking the test too?
Yeah. So I started my journey first on my own, and it helped me understand myself. And so I
Mhm.
started to grow. And then the more that I became like more confident, my husband got curious. And so I was like, let's see what you are. And I had an idea of what he might be,
Mhm.
but he took the test. And when he started reading about himself, he was like, oh my gosh. And so we both grew because he's a type A personality and
Mhm.
he sees everything he can fix. And I'm more chill and relaxed. And so now when he tells me like, hey, did you put it in the calendar? It doesn't bug me as much. I'm like, oh, he's not being annoying. That's how his brain works. Like he wants things to be scheduled. He likes to plan. And for me, I can help him relax. When he's being overly critical of himself or hard on himself, I can say, hey, it's not a big deal, like just relax. I'm sure it's nothing big. And so we kind of help each other balance off, our personalities.
Yeah. You're like, oh, you're just being a one today, so I could see like that conversation, but at least you can laugh at it a little bit and just let the feeling go instead of being, why are you doing that? Why are you acting that way? What do you even, you
Yeah.
understand their personality type because you've read about it and they've read about it. And so it just kind of makes sense. That's good. And one of the things I was going to touch on too is just the cost of hiring the wrong employee because you didn't take the steps to get to know who their personality is or maybe what their drivers are. Does that, I forget too, 'cause it's been so long since I've done the Enneagram. Does it talk about your drivers, like what motivates you at all?
Yes, it does. And that's a really great way to actually find your type is asking that question. And for example, for me, my motivation is keeping the peace.
Mm-hmm.
I want to keep my peace of mind. And so I tend to avoid confrontation and drama. And so I had to learn that not all confrontation is bad,
Mm-hmm.
especially when you're a mom and your wife, and when your child is sick and you have to deal with doctors and big things. There's going to be confrontation. There's going to be situations. And so I learned that even though this is my type, I don't have to stay here. I can grow and I can change and develop. And so all the types have different motivations. For my husband, his motivation is to be good. Every decision that he makes is like, I'm a good person, so I'm making this decision. And they like to be moral. And, if you are a type 5, I'm not sure yet, but, their motivation is being capable. And being capable is being prepared with knowledge and research that gives comfort. And so that's a great place to start, just looking at the motivations and see which one sticks to you.
Yeah. And that's great as a business owner too, because if I know that someone needs to feel good or wants to be a good person, when I'm giving them compliments, I'm touching on those facts because I know that that's important to them. So when it comes to like rewarding your employees, understanding what motivates them and what's important to them from this type of test can go a long way, a much longer. You're like, I don't need you to like buy me something, but if you tell me, hey, you did a great job, it was so good that you were prepared for that meeting because, could have gone sideways if you weren't prepared. And just the like a boss acknowledging that could go a lot longer with me as if I was an employee versus them not speaking the language in which is meaningful to me. So I really like that perspective too. All right. So I'm going to switch gears and ask you a fun question. If you had a superpower or a super strength, what would it be and why?
I'm just thinking about this. It's a good question, but I was talking to my 2 sons the other day, and we were just looking at the clouds in the sky and stuff, and we were talking about superpowers, and it's so funny you brought it up, but I would love to be able to fly. We had a couple of nests, when spring just started last year. We had a couple of nests, and just seeing the whole process of like the eggs, and then the eggs hatching, and the mom taking care of the birds, and now the birds were all on the roof and practicing flying back and forth. And I would just love to be able to be free and fly and not have a care in the world. And so
yeah, that would be fun. So if our audience, Myrna, wants to get in touch with you, what is the best way for them to find you?
Yeah, they can find me at my website. It's the number 9 wing, WING, number 1.com. That's my type, 9wing1. And I have a blog on there. You can contact me on there. I also have a free Enneagram guide. So you can download it and answer just a couple of questions to find your type. And so I feel like it's a great resource where you can start the journey of finding. And so it's a free download. And then I also have a free self-care ebook where if you're looking to relax for your specific type, just look at it and you can see what you can do to, help you for your specific personality type. And so you can find me on there.
Great. Yeah, we love freebies on Empower Her Money. So this is good information. Head over to Myrna's website. Thank you so much again for being on my podcast today. That wraps up another episode of Empower Her Money podcast, where we are giving you tools like the Enneagram to implement in your business immediately to help you become massively successful. Thanks again, Myrna. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you.